Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. Okay, I am down at Farmers Park at J.W.'s Kitchen with one of the best chefs I think I've ever met. He's incredibly talented. Andy Hampshire, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am wonderful. First of all, first things first, we all hear the accent. You, born and raised in the UK, correct? Where do you come from?
Manchester, a little town called Middlewich, just outside of Manchester, England.
Okay, so how is it that you came to wind up in the Missouri Ozarks?
Well, I moved here in 1999 to do an internship at Big Cedar, where I met my wife, Misty. We met at Top of the Rock, my first day of work, and started dating a little bit after that. And long story short, we dated for my whole internship. I went home, came back, we got married, and that's it.
And the rest is history. So you say internship. You were still a teenager? Is that correct?
Yeah, I moved here when I was 19.
Wow. So were you in school then?
I was. I did 3 years at culinary school, and my culinary teacher, professor at the time, met a guy who was our human resources director named Gary Lambert at Big Cedar, and they started this J1 visa. So I was part of the second term of interns that came to Big Cedar. Actually, our chef at JW's, Mike, moved over in 2007, I believe, and he was also in the internship program at Big Cedar. So I don't know exact numbers, but we had a lot of interns come through Big Cedar, and they still do it now.
It's amazing. The food down there has always been fantastic. And you learned a lot while you were there, but you brought a lot to your job at Big Cedar as well in terms of the cuisine that you were used to over in the UK. All right, so you were here for several years, and you opened, or rather you took over Farmers Gastropub on Glenstone, which is a wonderful restaurant. That's going to be a whole other podcast because I want to talk today about J.W.'s Kitchen. Let's fast forward a little bit. You still own and operate Farmers Gastropub.
Yep.
But you have this lovely place in Farmers Park that's really kind of dedicated to brunch. How did J.W.'s Kitchen come about?
So before COVID, we did brunch at Farmers Gastropub Saturday and Sunday, and it was a huge success. After COVID, I know this sounds kind of silly, but we were too busy, and lunch and dinner service especially on a Saturday was struggling because brunch was too busy. So we decided to stop brunch at the Gastropub at Farmers, and me and my wife Misty have always had a conversation about opening a brunch restaurant because, quite frankly, I could eat breakfast every single day, every meal of the day. I love it. I love eggs, and I love everything about it.
Breakfast food is really the best food. It's amazing.
It is. It is great. So we got to a point where we had the discussion about opening this place, and we got to where we could do it, and we weren't looking for this spot in Farmers Park, but it came available, and we jumped at it.
Okay, so one thing about your British heritage. Did you just really decide that it was time the Ozarks were introduced to the proper English breakfast? Because nobody does that like you, too. And it's just so good, and people have really taken to it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Scotch egg at Farmers. At first, everybody's used to this hard-boiled egg with sausage wraps around it. So we kind of refined it and do it soft-boiled. But the full English is one of the staples here, and it's, not everybody likes baked beans for breakfast, but we do. I mean, they're delicious. I love the full English.
Tell me all the ingredients in a proper full English.
So it's sausage, bacon, fried eggs. Different parts of the UK will do a fried slice, which is a fried piece of bread. We don't do that anymore because we're trying to watch our waistlines. Broiled tomato, baked beans, mushrooms, fried potatoes, and then we did do black pudding. Too hard to get because you can't get pig's blood in America. So we were buying it from a company in New York, and it would put the price of our full English up a ridiculous amount. So we decided not to do it, but it still sells.
Yeah.
And that's the full English it's great. If you're hungry on a Sunday or Saturday or hungover, or it'll sort out all your needs. It's great.
It'll set you back on your feet again. Believe me, I know. All right. So you mentioned you didn't worry about the fried bread because everybody's trying to watch their carbs and their waistline. Andy, come on. You're not watching the carbs that much around here because you do some pretty ridiculous things with biscuits.
Yeah.
What's going on with the biscuits around here?
So we make our own biscuits, and we make quite a lot a week, 600 to 700 a week. So when we decided to open JW's is called JW's because of our grandmothers.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah. Thank you. One is J, one is W?
Both mine were J, Joyce and Janet, and my wife's were Wanda and Willa Jean.
Oh, wow.
We couldn't have grown up more separately, more different. Misty grew up in Arkansas, going to her grandma's every weekend. I grew up in the city, going to my grandmother's farm every other weekend or whatever. So I grew up in the city, she grew up in the country. She'd go to the city for paved roads and ride a bike, and I would go to the farm to do farm stuff. So food was a big part of both our lives growing up. The biscuits and chocolate gravy on the menu at JW's is actually Misty's grandma's recipe. Both of them did chocolate gravy, but this is Wanda's recipe. And
well, I grew up in Arkansas, and I started to say that has to be a Misty thing, Misty's grandma thing. Yeah,
absolutely, it's a Misty thing. So we got her grandma's recipe, and I told Misty, I asked her, I said, you got to make this how your grandma used to make it. So her grandma used to make it in the microwave, and it was Misty's job as a kid to stir it and not let it overflow, dump everything in together, mix it all up. So we were making it one day, and Misty got pretty emotional. It reminded her of when she was a kid. So we took that recipe, and I had to tweak it a little bit to make it so we could make gallons of it. And I remember 2 days before we opened, Misty was here, and I said, here, try this gravy. And she's like, it's not like Granny's. Did you add this? I'm like, yeah. All it was a little bit more vanilla, and that was it. It was perfect. I mean, it was great.
Is that one of your top sellers around here?
Biscuits and gravy is our top seller. People are scared of chocolate gravy. They don't get it, but when you explain it and they try it, they love it.
Well, now, come on, in our neck of the woods, you'd think they'd be a little bit more used to it. But now they are more so because of you and Misty. Yeah. But I grew up having that. I had a neighbor that made it, and it was in a wonderful way, and the way you do it is just masterful. But now the good old Midwest sausage gravy is kind of a thing around here, right?
Yeah. So we take, and if you know Farmers, we're a farm-to-table restaurant. We try and buy as much local product as possible. So we buy plain ground pork from Newman Farms. We season it with sage, salt, pepper flakes, and then bake it. And then we make a base gravy mix, split it in half, and we add sausage to that to make our sausage gravy. And then we add mushrooms to the other half to make our mushroom gravy. The mushroom gravy came about because of the mushroom soup at Farmers.
Right, the mushroom soup, which originally, I believe, came from Peter Tinson, who also, right, Gallery Bistro.
Yeah,
right.
So Peter worked for us when he worked for Bill, and Bill's last day of business, Peter made this mushroom and sage soup, and I tried it. I'm like, holy, this needs to be on the menu. Can we put it on the menu? And he's like, absolutely. So we had the menus printed. We reprinted them with the mushroom soup. It's been on ever since, apart from one menu change where I took it off. And
people revolted and said, put it back on.
Absolutely. People didn't like that. So we put it back on, even though cream is upwards of $30 a gallon. We put it back on, and there's a reason it's expensive, because cream's expensive, and all it is reduced cream and mushrooms. So the mushroom gravy over here was based off that. It's got basically the same ingredients.
Okay. And you mentioned Bill. Bill Griffiths was the original owner, operator, founder of Farmers Gastropub.
Yeah. So they opened Farmers Gastropub in 2009, next door to the Moxie, where 417 Tap House is right now. Bill and Christina, his wife. They wanted to open a farm-to-table restaurant. Just so happens Bill is from Northern England too.
Right.
And, I don't think Christina had visioned a pub when they first opened it. They wanted a gastropub with all farm-to-table food, and it turns out that fish and chips and Scotch eggs and all that, people in Springfield loved that, so they rode with it, and they moved it from downtown to where it is right now on Glenstone. And me and Misty bought it in 2015, November of 15, and kind of tweaked it a little bit, and I was the executive chef at Highland Springs at that time, and I took over, and we had Highland members coming out, and Hickory members and Twin members. It was just great. It was awesome, and that's what really kept us going. And so Bill and Christina, it was a little mix of both for them. He really worked hard at finding farms to buy from and local people to buy from, and it's been tough. It's still tough. Well, it's even tougher now to do it.
Well, so that gave you a good foundation, and then you were able to expand and open JW's Kitchen. And, getting back to the idea of brunch and breakfast food is wonderful. Breakfast for dinner one night a week, easily. It's
Absolutely.
just, it's so easy, and it's just so good. Have you found that the people here in the Ozarks really are taken with that? Weekdays, weekends, anytime?
Yeah, they are. And it's been a slow burner at first. Weekdays are kind of a struggle because people, especially in this town, get stuck in their ways of where they go. But weekdays are getting busier. Weekends are crazy. I mean, Saturday and Sunday are really good with the farmers, especially Saturday with the farmers market. And we buy some produce from that market. It's kind of tough. With the seasons, tomatoes are so seasonal, and people like tomatoes year-round, and we don't do tomatoes year-round. We like to use them in the height of the season, and I think the Ozarks grow some of the best tomatoes around.
Oh, hands down. Speaking of that, the last time I was in here a few days ago, you had a lunch special. I want to say it was like a tomato sandwich or tomato toast or something. Tell me about that. Was just genius. But you're right, Andy. The tomatoes are not like that all year, and no matter where you try to get them, they're wonderful here. Tell me about that. That's the kind of thing that you can get here for breakfast or brunch or light lunch.
Yeah, we one of my friends, Phil Daniels, actually grows the tomatoes and the basil for us. He's pretty much done. I think he's got 14, 15 beds, and he had the best year this year, but he grows 3 different types of tomatoes, a little pear tomato, a little golden tomato. So we put the 3 or 4 different types of tomatoes on this tomato toast. Terrell Creek ricotta when they make it, tomatoes, salt, pepper, and basil, and that's it. I mean, good olive oil, and that's it. And the different tomato, the original beefsteak is a great tomato, but all the other tomatoes have different textures and different flavors and different sweetness. The little pear or the little cherries are just sweet bombs. They go in your mouth and they just blow up. They're just fantastic.
It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land. You know what they say, your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Speaking of the toast, tell me about the bread. What bread do you favor here?
So we buy all our bread except our biscuits, which we make in-house. We buy all our bread from Neighbour's Mill, Cliff and Lauren. Excellent. It's on Independence, right next to Macadoodles. If you haven't been, it's a little cafe, great cafe, and good coffee and drinks, and their pastries are incredible. But they make, I think, the best bread, and they make it from the best ingredients. You know, all their bread's got honey in it to activate it instead of sugar. It's just, their sweetbreads are incredible too, and it's just a really good product.
So you mentioned biscuits. Let's get back to the homemade biscuits. You do some savory biscuits. You do some regular biscuits. You do some sweet biscuits. You like to experiment with the biscuits.
Yeah, most of the time we'll have a biscuit special on or whatever. The next menu, which is coming out in a couple of weeks, we're going to have we're going to put cheddar biscuits on as a little mini cheddar biscuits with your choice of gravy as a snack for the table, or we get people that just order the 5 biscuits and then build a breakfast out of it. We've done cinnamon biscuits. You know, my eldest daughter, Emma, is a cinnamon roll freak, and my youngest daughter, Ava, loves biscuits. So we try to mix it together. So we do a lot of biscuits. We try and come up with different ways and different techniques of making the biscuits, like a drop biscuit or a roll biscuit, and you know, it's just been fun and looking at the way the biscuits have revolved over the last year.
Well, and it keeps the menu fresh too. Yeah. When you change it up and do a special, and you know, I know the customers have to absolutely love it. But you've got, I've seen chorizo dishes, pork belly dishes. I had a lovely avocado toast here before. You can eat as heavy or as light as you want. Yeah. Is it healthy? I mean, is that one of the, within a certain realm is healthy. But is that one of the things you wanted to keep mindful here in your menu? Yeah,
you've got a family of 4 coming in. You've got Dad that loves biscuits and gravy, or vice versa. You've got Mom that likes something lighter. So we've got salads. We've got avocado toast, which is really good. The lighter dishes, but also the heavier dishes, our fried chicken biscuit. So it's a split biscuit, which we split. We pour country gravy over the top of it. It has bacon, a fried chicken, 2 fried chicken tenders, and then an egg of your choice on top of it. It's a crowd pleaser. People absolutely love it. You can get a flight of biscuits, and a lot of people do it for when they first sit down. They'll get 3 biscuits, 1 chocolate gravy, 1 mushroom gravy, and 1 country gravy. That was Missy's idea, the biscuit flight, because some people, you get the sausage gravy, then the mushroom gravy, and then you've got dessert with the chocolate gravy. I just love good food, and we make pretty much everything from scratch. Our eggs, we've not talked eggs yet, but our eggs come from Buttonwood Farms. We're buying 10 cases, so 1,000 eggs, roughly 1,500 eggs a week. Yeah. We poach them all our scrambled eggs. The scrambled eggs, we crack whole eggs. We don't use liquid eggs. All our fried potatoes, we cut and fry. We're going to add fried sweet potatoes to the menu. Nice. Which is a good, some people like fried potatoes, but sweet potatoes are a little healthier. And we're just going to do them the same as our fried potatoes. So, and then grits. Yeah, I remember when I first moved here, when I was cooking at Big Cedar. I'm sure you know Robert Chef Strickland. He was my mentor. I was his executive sous chef for 2.5 years at Big Cedar. Taught me a lot. We did a lot of stuff together. But he would come in, and I remember this when I was cooking breakfast. Strickland would walk in, and he'd pour a cup of grits, and then crack an egg, raw egg, into the grits, stir it up, and eat it. And I thought it was the grossest thing I've ever seen in the world. I'm like, I didn't like grits back then. I didn't, But then over time, he would come in and fry an egg and put that on it. I said, I can get down with that. I can eat a fried egg on it, and I'd try to eat it. And then, we had a dish on the menu at Top of the Rock when I was the chef there that was a whole portobello mushroom, and we made pepper jack grits. So we put the pepper jack grits down, the portobello mushroom, and baked that in our pizza oven, and put balsamic over it. I mean, it was, and ever since then I've loved grits for lunch, for dinner, for everything. I love it. And if I go out, especially in the South, and I'm on vacation and they've got grits, I'm more than likely going to order them.
Oh, I love grits. But one thing that you did to get the folks in the Ozarks reacclimated to grits, there's a little cheese in there. It changes everything.
Sharp cheddar cheese. Yeah, we buy a 2-year aged white cheddar from New York, and it's delicious. It's sharp. It's so good.
It's good stuff for sure. I had a fantastic hummus bowl in here. Tell me about that. Now, that's one of those that can be as heavy or light as you want it to be. That's a very light but crazy filling. I took part of it home with me. I couldn't eat it all.
Yeah, it's hummus. We got hummus on at the pub too, and hummus is one of those things that you can do a lot of stuff with it. So we actually boil our chickpeas in baking soda, which breaks the outside down, which makes the hummus super, super smooth when we make it. So it's going to be a seasonal hummus dish. Right now it's got cucumber, tomato, and onion salad on it. Super fresh, super light, olive oil, salt and pepper. I say light. It's light, but if you eat the whole thing, it's filling. It's
a lot. And you mentioned onion salad. It's kind of a like a marinated onion,
yes.
Correct?
Yeah, we do. We make actually marinated onions. So we take onions, sherry vinegar, olive oil, oregano, chop the onions, pour that in, and just let it sit. So it's not a pickled onion. A pickled onion is a lot more sharp. These are. They do have a vinegary flavor, but they take on a lot of the oregano, and the olive oil flavor.
I've seen you do I think it was a cornbread waffle with maybe some pork belly.
Yeah.
You have a masterful menu. Do you cook a lot at home? Do you guys cook a lot at home? No, because it's just too much.
I don't. Misty does. Misty's a really good cook. And going back to Mike and the kitchen crew here, when we decided to do this place, I've been cooking since I was 15. I'm almost 45. It's hard. It's concrete floors, long hours. My knees and hips and everything hurts. But Mike was just coming back from the UK, and we had a discussion. We were in the works of opening this place, designing it, and I just on a whim, hey, do you want to come and work for us? He's like, absolutely. So Mike did the same thing I did. Mike took when I left Big Cedar to go to the Hilton, Mike took my job. He was the executive chef at Big Cedar. So he's incredible, and we both bounce ideas off each other. That's why the menu's so creative. It was actually him that did the cornbread waffle. We're actually working on a biscuit waffle.
Oh.
Which might be interesting.
Sign me up.
Just take our biscuit dough and throw it in a waffle iron. Make a biscuit.
Yeah. Give it some texture.
Throw some fried chicken on it. It'd be great.
Fabulous, absolutely. And we're sitting in the restaurant right now across from a beautiful bar. And I'm quite sure, as I have been here on a couple of occasions, brunch on the weekends, the bar is lit up. You've got some great stuff. A lot of creativity there, too.
Yeah. We try to make it as creative on the bar side as well. Mimosas, and we'd actually do unlimited mimosas for $20, so you can sit here and have 3 or 4 mimosas for $20. We make our own juices. Right now we have a red juice or a beet juice, so it's beets, apples, ginger. We rotate those. We do a green juice with box turtle kale, so we actually juice kale. We'll add celery, and that's been a really, really big thing. People love the juices. They love being healthy.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary, yeah. We buy our Bloody Mary mix from a company in Kansas City called Carey's Mary's. It's got really clean ingredients. Little horseradish, black pepper, salt, It's really good. And then, we have a Bloody Mary menu, so you can get a tequila Bloody Mary, or you can get a mezcal Bloody Mary, which adds a little smoke to it, which is really, really good.
Perfect, yeah.
We make our own spicy vodka, espresso martinis, which, if you ask Tyler at Farmers, isn't really a martini, but, because it's not got vermouth in it, so it can't be a martini. So,
but it's in the proper glass for a martini, so it's a martini.
Absolutely. We make our own espresso vodka for that. Cold brew. All our coffee and tea comes from a company in St. Louis called the Buke Coffee Company. Charles is a good friend of mine. His coffee's amazing. We use I like bold, strong coffee, so we use their espresso bean as a drip coffee, which is fantastic. We make a Cuba Libre, which is a rum and coke. If you don't know, we use some of the best rum. We use Mexican Coke in a bottle. So,
the real deal.
The real deal. The real deal. Yeah.
Okay, so remind us, you're very, very much open for breakfast and brunch and lunch on the weekend. So you are here, except for you're only closed on Tuesday, correct?
Yeah. Yes, we're only closed on Tuesday. We're open Wednesday through Monday, 8 to 2. So it's if you've got business meetings, if you've got, you just want a nice place to come and sit. Our patio in the fall is going to be fantastic. We've got a covered patio. People sit out there when it's raining. They don't get wet. We had a couple Saturdays ago. We were full in the restaurant, and a thunderstorm rolled through, and people just sat out there like, oh, this is great.
There's a group of people out there now, at least one group when I came in the door. All right, we're going to wrap up this conversation with Andy Hampshire at JW's Kitchen. One quick question, though. Was it you that brought the Scotch egg to Big Cedar? Because that's the first place I had the Scotch egg, was in the Buzzard Bar. God bless you. What was that you?
That was me. Yeah, that was me. And I can't take full credit for the fried chicken livers that are on the menu.
Oh, they're fabulous.
But we were playing with chicken livers. My old executive sous chef, Dave Case, grew up in Mount Vernon, and he grew up eating fried chicken livers and gizzards and all that. So we were doing a dish, and it was sautéed. In France, they eat a lot of sautéed chicken livers with onions. And Dave's like, let me just fry you some. So he fried them, the cheddar mashed potatoes, the gravy. I mean, it's just so good. But yeah, the Scotch egg, me and Mike joke, because I put it on and it was still on the Buzzard Bar menu when I left, and he took it off.
Well, I did not love when it went away, because my cousin Bill and I were in the Buzzard Bar one day, and he said, what on earth is a Scotch egg? We've got to have this. My life has never been the same because of the Scotch egg, which will lead me into my next podcast with you, which is coming down the road about Farmers Gastropub, because thank goodness I can still get my Scotch egg fixed there. Andy Hampshire at JW's Kitchen, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll see you all for brunch soon.
Yes, you will.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.